Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Living Astrology with Janet Hickox. Grab your cup of coffee or your tea, sit back and relax while we chat about what is happening up in the stars above for not only today, Friday, but also for Saturday and Sunday. Although there's so much to talk about for Friday and Saturday, I'm not sure that we'll really get much into Sunday. But Sunday of the days is less likely to cause any kind of issues. And really, are we looking at a bunch of issues this weekend? Probably not. It seems likely that this weekend could be a very good weekend leading into the Christmas holiday. And I love it when I see that potential lining up for us. And a lot of that is happening because of the moon's move yesterday into Libra and spending all day today in Libra. And literally spending the day tomorrow in Scorpio, Sunday in Scorpio, and then Venus moving into Aquarius will have an impact on us in our relationships and how we are feeling about one another. And we have only like one thing that really, to me, makes it look like we have any kind of potential for a cloud, and even that cloud isn't all that bad, as long as you know what to do with it. So we should just dive on in then and take a look at the weekend. If we have time today, at the end of the broadcast, we will do a few card readings. So good morning to those of you I see popping in. I see, I think that was Asa that came in, and Mimi and Allison, good morning. It was Asa, good. Colleen Jackson, good morning. Mimi says good morning to everybody. Rebecca, hello, and Debbie Hedden, good morning to you as well. And Ashley Inbernone, good morning to you. You must be on a pause from your studies, so it's great for you to join us. And Tracy Wagner, good morning to you as well. Allison says good morning. So great to see everybody out there. So let's dive in, shall we? We have a lot to talk about, although I've been talking either I've been talking fast or we haven't had a lot to talk about, because it seems like I've been done at, the 30 to 40 minute mark. So today may not be that fast because we have the 3 days to talk about. But literally this morning, I didn't even have time to consider Sunday all that much because of getting ready and so forth this morning and waking up late. So let's take a look today. We have the moon in Libra all day long. So we have that energy of relationships, of loving one another, of being in peace and creating, a good working relationship with one another. The moon today is in a sextile to Mercury and also in a square to Saturn and Pluto. So those are the only two squigglies, if you will, for the day. But the sextile of the moon in Libra to Mercury is going to increase our social interaction with one another. There may be office parties today as you're closing out the last Friday of the year, or of the before the Christmas season. And you may have, more parties in families and things like that this weekend as you're getting together. But whatever it is, it appears that we are interested in more conversation, right? Maybe there will be a lot of texts, emails, phone calls, Christmas cards coming in. Some way we are reaching out to one another today. And also reaching out with more sensitivity and caring, maybe for those people who are suffering somewhat in this particular season. Now, the Saturn and Pluto squares, of course, thankfully, this is the moon, so it doesn't mean a whole lot except for momentary or maybe an hour or so fleetingly feeling of depression or melancholy, a depressed feeling. So I always like to remind people that in any given day, we are moving through many different moods. Some of us are more moody than others, and we really notice the moods. Others of you probably don't notice it as much. But when the moon in Libra is squaring the planets in Capricorn and squaring the planet Chiron in Aries, and opposing the planets in Aries and squaring the ones in Cancer, the North Node, then you're going to get something, right? You're going to find that you are wistful about something, that you are wishing for happier days, happier times, more money, better health, who knows? But it's fleeting, it's short-lived. So a fleeting melancholy. That's how I like to look at this. You're not depressed. right? Don't take the I am and put it with that kind of a word. You're feeling it, perhaps. Now with the square to, so wait, back up. So that square with Saturn, we also want to resist getting into negative thinking or getting into the, what do I call it? Stinking thinking. So today we are possibly going to experience that for a short time. And that could be as a result of some communication that you've had with somebody. So just being watchful and aware that if you feel that, just go with that flow, right? That too shall pass. The square to Pluto is probably one that's a little bit more difficult than even the one with Saturn. And that's because we have compulsive behavior that sort of shows up with Pluto. And we might have to be dealing with those feelings that we have in a very honest manner. So the processing of whatever triggers us into that melancholic feeling may be the longer lasting effect of the day, the processing of it. And we'll have to be able to deal with those feelings or with those reactions that we have with honesty, because without that, then we continue to just gloss that over in our lives, and it then really becomes a bigger problem. So go within. If you get triggered in some way, don't hesitate. Go right on in. See and feel what it is that you really want. What is it that created that feeling for you? And in a way that if you're triggered by a negative feeling, then what your emotional field is really telling you is that you want more of the opposite of that, right? You want more of the good feeling. You want more of the, yes, I'm in joyful pleasure. I'm having a great time. I'm loving life. That's what you want more of. So the feelings, when they get down into the low, are just showing you what you really want more of, right? So you don't really have to focus on the feeling of melancholy or depression or sadness or irritation. You can focus more on the other side, but you don't want to whitewash the feelings that you're going through, mostly because what you resist persists. But what you do want to resist or avoid is getting into that negative, despairing talk and believing that this feeling has something real to it that's going to be long lasting, when really it's just a trigger from the moon, and this too shall pass. I hope that makes sense for everybody, because we go through these transits on a daily basis, right? The moon is doing something to somebody. But I think sometimes what we do when it triggers a certain feeling within us that matches something we've struggled with for a longer period of time, that's when we get into and drawn into the drama or the trauma, and again, showing us where we still have a charge or something left undone in the emotional field. So use the energy to your benefit and not necessarily, buying into, oh God, here we go. I'm moody, I'm depressed, I don't want to be in this world, blah, blah, blah. And yes, we can, Allison. Good question. She asked if I would draw a card for the collective, and yes, I can do that. Amy says good morning to everybody. Marjorie, good morning. Christine Erickson, good morning. And Marissa, Elisa, Gail, it's great to see you. She says, good morning, beautiful people from frosty Pennsylvania. Good morning, Petra. Great to see you with us this morning as well. I guess I could say good morning from very wet, dark, and dreary Northwest Washington. As in, it's yucky out there. But these are kind of like my favorite kind of days, because it just makes you want to get all cozied up and comfortable and stay indoors. And I was listening to some fabulous music this morning, and I just was dancing through the house. Maybe that's why I was, not getting everything done. I was spending too much time dancing to the music, engaging in, something much more fun and frivolous. But that's what these kind of days are good for, right? To find those cool things to do inside, inward. Yesterday, I had this thought, and I'm trying to remember now what triggered the thought. And it had to do with one of our listeners out here that triggered me into pulling up a book that I have that's been sitting on a bookshelf. I've read some of it, not all of it, and it's called Oneness. And now I don't remember what it was yesterday. It happened while I was on air, and I thought, oh, I need to go check out that book. So yesterday afternoon, once I got done with everything I had to do, I sat down with that book and just cozied up and realized first of all, it was irritating because of the words that they use and the way the words are phrased. But the sentiment, the meaning is so appropriate for what we're going through right now that I was just enthralled. But here's the thing, I was working with a client and it wasn't about the book, it was about the bookmark. And I wish I had the bookmark. It's in the living room now. But it was about being positive, I believe. And that was the message that I needed, not so much the book, but the book began a very fascinating, look. This book was written in 1998, channeled in 1998, I should say. And it's amazing to me, the words were all about ascension and moving to the next level and understanding our emotions and how we were sort of not aware yet of what the true use of our emotional energy was. And I'm like, wow, that was 1998. Here it is 2020 almost. And we're still dealing with some of this. She was talking in the book, or he, I'm not sure, was talking about how time seems to have sped up and how more things are happening, it seems like, in the span of a shorter period of time, and how that has sort of upended our world. And it's amazing. It's amazing to read that and to know, unfortunately, that we're still grappling with some of the things that were coming to light at the beginning of the new millennium. And here we are 20 years into that millennium, darn near, and we're still grappling with those same issues. Makes me wonder, are we really as conscious as we think we are? Possibly, possibly not. But all we can do is keep moving forward, right? Keep understanding our emotions and keep looking within and keep processing what we're feeling and keep looking in those mirrors of the relationships that we have in our lives and seeing our value and our worth, and also engaging their value and their worth and using love energy. So it's interesting that we still have that. I think today's Pleiadian-Earth energy sums it up really nicely in that today is an 11 seeing. Seeing energy is men in the Mayan calendar, and it was eagle. So it was about flying to the highest part of, climbing to the tall top of the pyramid, or for an eagle to the highest top of the trees, so that your perspective is broadened and that you can see from a wider lens what is going on. And of course, the 11 with it is the number of illumination. So we have, if you combine these today, illuminated seeing, seeing the light, right? Seeing the light in one another as opposed to seeing the dark, seeing the highest perspective, seeing from the highest perspective, and releasing our attraction to the drama and the trauma and the division and the polarization, letting all of that go in favor of seeing that there's something bigger at work, something more important than the minor squabbles that we see going on in our world. So seeing the light, moving to a higher perspective, minding the details. Sometimes we miss the details, right? We're not, when you see an eagle, we have lots of bald eagles here, and there's a tree right out my front door that's actually across the road, but perspective wise, it looks like it's right in my front yard. There's an eagle or two that often sit at the top of that, and every once in a while you just see them take off, and you know that they spotted a fish or a bird or something that they're going after, because from that perspective they can see even the fish in the sea. And those trees are about 150 to 200 feet tall, on top of the fact that they're sitting on a hillside overlooking the water. It's amazing to me, right? And it speaks to how much we might miss as human beings in our limited vision, in our tendency to get tunnel vision. Widen the perspective and see the details. So the big, the wide, and the deep, and the minute, right? That's our deal today. Seeing with the light. Today, let me see, any comments about any of that? Londa, good morning. Linda Dennis, good morning. Lisa Pedro, good morning. Christine Erickson says, hi, a lot of melancholic feelings and finding out bad news about someone in my closest, maybe your family got a bad diagnosis of tumors. Trying to stay calm. I just stay at home and have a cozy time with lights and trees. Nice, 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 nice. Christmas. And she posted a cute little Christmas tree that looks like it's dancing. So that's exactly the thing, right? We can be there as a support to our families or our friends as they have to deal with issues, just like they would be there for you when you're dealing with issues. But that melancholy isn't your own, perhaps, Christine. It's the feeling of, what other people might be going through in your life. And even if it is something that you personally are going through, melancholy, as we've spoken about many times here, is the cradle of inspiration and the cradle for creative energy that bursts out when the pendulum swings out of melancholy and back into the external world. So melancholy is the deeper introspective you, while the other end would be the more extroverted, action-oriented you, the more creative expression of who you are. And we all go through these times, but some people in your human design, let's see, I did print a human design chart this morning. Let's do a quick human design lesson here for everybody. There are some particular, I'm going to move my coffee so I don't spill it in my keyboard. And there are some, so here's the chart for today. You can see that the emotional center is open. Right, here's the emotional center here, and it's wide open. So is the will center. The root center is open on that side, moving over toward that emotional center. And then the head, the ajna, and the throat center are open today. So we only really have the love energy, the action energy, and the success energy for the day. And it seems to be going, in a circuit that goes from the gate 57 being psychic to speaking words that are empowering people from what you interpret psychically, and then back down to the through the channel of the love of humanity and timing to meet up in the sacral. So we have a very powerful sense going on there, but with the openness over here in the emotional center, some of you may find that you're triggered in some ways, and that depends really on how your own personal chart is set up. But there are some channels in your own human design that may be turned on. If they're turned on, they're in color, or that may be open, but the other end is triggered, that can create some powerful emotional reactions in you. So I'm going to highlight them. For one thing, we have the 3955, which moves from the root center down here up into the emotional center through the gate 39, meeting up with the gate 55. The 55 is the gate of the spirit of abundance, and 39 is the gate of provocation. And that's, of course, just one word to describe each one of those gates, but they form the channel of emoting. So anybody who has either end of that or all of that, you tend to be more emotional in your expression and in your feelings. So you may, what is that saying where we talk about people wearing their emotions on their sleeves? You may be one of those people if you're carrying that channel. Yours truly here carries that channel. So I'm always emotional, even though I tried to make it so that I wasn't. But there are also channels that make us feel more, if you will, bipolar, because they have such high highs and low lows in the emotional field, in the emotional expression. One of those channels is the 2212. And the 2212 goes directly from the emotional center to the throat. So it gets expressed immediately. So people who have that channel are often very tuned in to I feel good or I do not feel good. I feel shy or I feel bold. I feel gracious or I feel nasty. Right? There's no in between often with the energies in that gate. Of course, we want to be charming and we want to be gracious, and sometimes it's just very hard to keep up that facade if that particular channel is being triggered. So the 22 is on the emotional center. It is the gate of grace and graciousness. The gate 12 is up on the throat center. It is the gate of romanticism. It is the gate of being a voice for the superconscious, but it is connected in that emotional wave. So it also tells you that sometimes you're on and can speak loving words, and other times, whoa, not happening, right? Sometimes you're shy, and other times you're absolutely withdrawn and pulled away. So that particular channel, if it's triggered in your human design, can really make you feel sort of bipolar, high highs, low lows. And then the other channel that has a lot of that same kind of energy is the 3635, which is outer, right next to it. Now, its cycle is a little bit faster, where the 1222 is a slow rise to the high and then a longer drop to the bottom. The 3536 can be a high jump to the top and then a very precipitous drop to the bottom. So that can also have that feeling of, you know, I'm bipolar, or there's something wrong, or, you know, I'm in a bad mood. And then later you're, you know, to be followed by a better mood. Or in this particular gate, the 36, it can sometimes be, I can't stand this feeling, and so I'm going to go out and be reckless, or I'm going to do things that make me feel alive or excited, or you know, change things up so I can let that feeling go. And so there's another channel here, another gate, because I'm not sure that it's moody to the other channel, but the gate 6 is also a very important gate, in that it's the gate of intimacy. And when we're feeling engaged, included, intimate with someone, the feeling is really high and it's really good, and it feels really, you know, exciting and loving, and it's what we really want. And then something could be said, something could be done, and that intimacy drops, and then the person apologizes, and then it comes back up, and then down, and then up, and then down. There's an undulation through that mood in that particular gate. So people who have that may find that they go through many ups and downs in their emotional field. So emotional energy is set up differently for each of us. And it can be, if it's an open emotional center, the question always becomes, whose feelings am I feeling? Right? Is this really mine? And if you have a defined emotional center through one of those gates, then you are broadcasting this feeling. And it's up to you then to learn, what is it that those emotional feelings are telling you? So there we have that. Questions about emotions? I hope that helps a little in understanding emotional energy. Christine, yes, it's true. I'm like a swamp. Feel so much that's not even my own. There you go. Rose Osmond, good morning to you. Catherine Worcester, good morning. And Christine Erickson says, I have 55 black halfway to 39, and 2212 is white, so it's open. So for example, Christine, was it last week? Last week, the sun was at the earth was at the gate 12, and that would have been triggered for you. So maybe something happened in the week that might have triggered a withdrawal feeling for you, or a more introspective feeling for you. Now, this week, of course, that energy has changed and shifted. So now it should be a different feel, but definitely those feeling energies are there. The question is it mine or isn't it, right? Is it mine? And what is it telling me, right? The emotions are sort of like codes. It's encoded with a lot of information about how you're feeling, about whether you're in the right place, in the right timing, with the right people. And if you know how to read your code, then you know what's being required of you in the moment. Unfortunately, we don't really know our codes. We don't know what that, you know, the code word is. Move away from that person, right? But we don't get it. We stay. Or the code word might be, your thoughts are focused too much on the negative. Move over to something more positive. But we miss that. Instead, we react to that emotional energy. So remember what it is that you're meant to do with your emotional energy. Always asking yourself, does this feel good? If it doesn't feel good, then move away from it, right? If it feels good, stay with it. If it feels good, you're probably in the right direction. And sometimes that low feeling is just about incubating the next great idea, the next great project, right? The next great thing. Okay, now, Venus and Aquarius. Here's the funny thing. Here's the funny story in all of this, is that yesterday for us on the West Coast, you guys, early this morning, Venus moved into the sign of Aquarius. And Aquarius is a sign of detachment from those emotional feelings. So while we have an emotional center, and while we have a holiday time that tends to be the time, if we're going to get triggered emotionally, that's it, right? It's going to be in the holidays. It's when, we're sitting at Christmas dinner and you've, made something and someone goes, who made the stuffing? It tastes gross, right? And you're like, oops. So, we're at a time right now where we actually have more access to detachment in our emotions, at least through January 13th, while Venus is in Aquarius. And we can become a little bit more unconventional in the way that we are in our relationships, where before somebody's slight might have really hurt our feelings and it takes us out. Now it might be one of those things where we just bust out laughing, where it's funny. Right? Not that Venus in Aquarius is, equated to humor, but humor is an appropriate release as opposed to crying or getting upset, as, we all know. Sometimes laughter is the best medicine. So we have freedom in our social situations while Venus is in Aquarius. We meet our own and others' personal genius. Right? Aquarius is a sign that is, sees the high side and can really tap into that unconventional, that avant-garde, that experimental, inventional, genius energy within us. And in that case with Venus, it gets applied to our relationships. And we might prefer new ways of being with people. We might prefer to be around new people, different people. Right? Maybe, different people will show up at your Christmas dinners this week, or your New Year's Eve parties might, have different people you wouldn't normally hang out with. And that is how it should be while Venus is in Aquarius, because in a way what we're doing is we're expanding our connections with others. This is a time to be open-hearted and open-minded and to connect on a level that's friendship and friendly, to be light, to be less serious, to see the humor in things. So we have that on from now until January 13th when she changes signs. So that means it takes us not only through the holiday season, but into and one day beyond the Saturn-Pluto conjunction on January 12th, the Saturn-Pluto-Sun-Mercury conjunction on that day. So we, lighting, showing us that maybe we have to entertain some humor. Right? We might have to look at some of this more serious BS that's going on in the world around us and, laugh at our own unconsciousness in creating it and then set about to create something different. All right, that's our high side. Now, Venus moving into Aquarius immediately comes into contact with Uranus, the ruler of Aquarius. And that actually happens on the 22nd, which is Sunday. And is that the Hanukkah? That's the first day. Hanukkah begins at sundown on the 22nd. How interesting is that? And actually, my calendar says winter begins on the 22nd when I have, hold please, it's in my book. I actually have winter beginning at 8:19 p.m. my time on Saturday. So I guess if you go to UTC or GMT, the universal time is likely on the 22nd. So maybe that's what the calendar is looking at. Irregardless, Venus will be coming into a square with Uranus. Now, squares are challenging. They're often times when we have to, really move through obstacles, deal with limiting thinking or limitations, literal limitations, boundary issues, etc. But Venus in a square to Uranus is one of the lighter, more exciting phases that we can go through in a square, where we see excitement in being engaged with other people, with broadening our focal point in our relationships. There are possibilities that we take unwarranted financial risks. Of course, Venus ruling relationships, money, and our values, while Uranus seeks rebellion and revolution and liberation. So you can see, maybe that we might take some risks that we shouldn't take. We can take that risk sexually. We can take that risk in our relationships, and we can take that risk in our finances. This is also a very flirty transit, where we are coming from a place of that flirtatious, fun-loving side of ourselves. And given that that might be aimed at someone who doesn't understand that, can be misunderstanding your intentions, and issues can crop up around, flirtations. But we are also attracted to the new, to the exciting, and that is, to me, something that is a good energy in the face of some of the more serious energies that we have coming ahead for us as we move into January. We're already dealing with them, so hey, let's call it like it is. Jupiter moved today into the gate 58 to join the south node there. So you know that Jupiter's in Capricorn. And while Saturn was, and Pluto earlier, many years back now, was moving through the early degrees of Capricorn, we were dealing with issues of joy and excitement, play, vitality, and in the lowest energy, it's dissatisfaction, like a vague sense of not being okay with where we are in our lives, with the shape of our finances, the shape of our health, the way our business is running, our relationships, our work. And so underlying that joy and that vitality now is this vague sense of dissatisfaction, the shadow energy that we must deal with. And as we move into the holiday season, which is really reflected in the gate of joy, the gate of bliss, the gate of vitality, on one hand, we have, the season, which is meant to bring us that joy, but underneath it could be some of these other things that, we just gloss over during the holidays. So this is our invitation to really break through into the foundation of joy being our lives, right? If I show you the human design chart, again, what did I do with it now? You'll see that the gate of joy sits down here on the root center. It's this one right here. And it leads up toward the spleen. So the only thing that really could start, isn't that interesting? That the first interruption to the energy of joy can come from the spleen, which is also fear and paralysis that comes when we are in fear. So I think that's interesting. I've never really paid much attention to that, but the only outlet for joy is through the spleen. And the spleen, remember, in our more integral human design way of looking at this, is the center for success, thriving as opposed to just surviving. I mean, in the old days, it was about survival energy. What it's meant for now is more about thriving and success. And we have success as a species, right? We have 7 billion or so of us on this planet that shows we've been, really good at surviving. Now we have to take that energy and we have to morph it, if you will, into something more powerful. What is blissful? What is joyful? So Jupiter growing and expanding that energy, and the south node reminding us, right, that, what is it that really forms the basis of who you are? And of course, that will take us into the new year as well. How's everybody doing out there? Questions, comments? Debbie, emotional issues is what I'm referring to. Oh, wait, I missed a comment by you, Debbie. I'm sorry. Latricia, good morning. Rebecca says, I'm broadcasting 3 of those gates with a defined emo center, a lot of practice and responsibilities. Righto, girlfriend. Debbie says, unfortunately, I have this all the time, slowly learning to control most of it. Debbie, that's because you're a reflector. Right? You're a reflector. That means all of those centers are open in your human design chart. So every day is a new day for you, literally, because every day the moon is moving and lighting up a new part of your chart. Some days are going to be more intense as perhaps the moon hits a channel that you have a gate hanging and it completes the channel for you. And now, whoa, it's a good day. And then the next time it maybe kicks in an emotional channel and now it's, whoa, oh no, what's happening? So you are, like the moon, only a reflection of everything that is going on around you. And that's why reflectors are so powerful in showing us where it is that we are going wrong as a society, as a group, as a family. You're the one, right? And you're rare. The reflectors are rare. Less than 1% of the population are reflectors. So you're rare, and of course your issues are there. There's nothing in the field of your emotional, in your human design that is authentically yours, right? It's all a reflection. And then you're learning to be very wise about what is the world reflecting to me. You know, what should I take action on? What should I not? What should I react to? What should I not? Who should I be now? Who should I not be now? Right? Because it's always different. Every day is a new day. You might be new 3 or 4 times in a day because the moon moves sometimes through 2 to 3, 4 gates in a day. So for you, it'd be really an auspicious thing for you to do for yourself would be to tune into the human design calendar and see what on a daily basis is happening with the various things. Like, for example, let's take a look here at, what did I do with my little booklet? Here it is. Let's take a look at just one day today. So today is the 20th. The moon will be at the gate 48, which is on the spleen leading up toward the throat. The moon will be at the gate 57, which is on the spleen leading up to the identity center. And the gate 32, which is also on the spleen. So today is a day where there might be a lot of triggers to fear in your particular world. Just because, depending on if any of those gates are defined for you or if any of the opposite of those gates are hanging for you, might be how you're experiencing the world. So for you, like I said, every day basically is a new day. A couple of hours, I mean, like today, you might be up to what? How many gates was that? 3? 3 different people today. Part of that also happens when you're asleep and affects your dream state. So you're just an interesting study, and you know, this would be a fabulous study for you to undertake, to know ahead of time what gates the moon is going to be moving through and how it's going to trigger your own human design. Very powerful for you. Okay. Mary, good morning. Tom says, good morning. I'd like a card, please. I don't know that I will get there, Tom. But happy Boxing Day. I don't know why you're saying that now, because that's not until the day after Christmas. Kathy Miller, good morning. Rebecca says, what was the name of that channel, the 5818? What is the name of that channel? I always call it the channel of joy and vitality. But in human design, let's get you, no, I don't have that there. Let's see if I can get you the exact name of that channel. Oh, no. That's called the channel of judgment. I can see that now because it connects up to the other end at gate 18, which is the fear of things not being perfect. It's the gate of judgment or criticizing, being critical, being perfectionistic. And so it's the whole channel of judgment. So stop judging yourself. Get out of judgment. Kathy Miller, did you have a lot of wind? Yes, it's still windy out there. Not bad wind, though, just consistent wind. Debbie says, I feel crazy quite often. Of course you do. You could be, sweetheart, you need a reading. That's all there is to it. You need somebody, and it doesn't have to be me. It could be anybody. Or do some really deep self-study so you understand the moon's effect and the planetary effects on you. Because you are affected so much more than, say, me as a generator, by what is going on up in the sky. That openness, right? You're taking it in. You're taking in everything, and then you amplify it. And then it has the effect of wanting to broadcast out of you, even though it isn't your own. So very, very careful for you, to understand who you are. Tom says, ha, 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 men at work, who shall I be now? Good day, mates. Kathy, I feel like I'm going in circles. Is it the holidays? Can't focus? Likely, that's a part of it. And Marissa says, wait, there's a human design calendar? How did I miss that? Your human design calendar is really called an ephemeris, right? It's this thing. And this is the next week will be the last week I use this one because I have my 2021 already. And it tells you every day what's going on. The planets are across the top. The dates go down the side here. And it tells you what gates everything is moving into, what day they're moving in. These are the planets over here, but then the moon's over here because the moon can move through so many different gates in a day. And yeah, so this is the deal, right? This is the one. There's not necessarily a program that operates with that piece of information, although in astrology, in human design programs, you can get a chart of the now. And in one of the programs I use, you can get a chart of the transits. You can also get a solar return chart done with your human design, which I found fascinating, actually. So there's that potential. But this particular book, easy. I think it's easy, with a little bit of explanation. And you get this from www.humandesignsystem.com. Humandesignsystem.com. And you can order the 2020 ephemeris, pocket ephemeris, and have that access. And then with your own human design chart in front of you, you can see how you're going to be affected on that day by any of the planets. So like for now, if you are someone who has gate 18 and it's hanging on the spleen, for the foreseeable future, you have Jupiter sitting at gate 58, completing that channel of judgment, right? That's going to be something that you can empower yourself to view how or what it is that you're always in constant judgment about, whether it's about you or about other people. So looking at that energy could be very much empowering over the next few weeks. Okay, let's go into Saturday really quickly, because Saturday the moon in Libra is void, of course, from 3:45 a.m. my time to 4:57 a.m., a short time, a little more than an hour. And for you all on the East Coast, then that means 7:45 a.m. to 8:57 a.m., 7:57 a.m. Wait a minute, 6:45 a.m. to 7:57 a.m. I should stay out of time. And then the moon will be in Scorpio. That takes us into more passionate, intense energy. And so fundamentally, we're moving out of the relationship focus into the more depth focus in our relationships, the needs of the many, right? The needs. This is also the day of the winter solstice, which, by the way, happens later in the day. And that's why it looks like on the calendars that winter begins on the 22nd, because in Greenwich Mean Time or Universal Time, it does actually happen on the 22nd. But for all of us here in the United States, it is on the 21st. So the solstice, it's the summer solstice for you all down under. Below the equator, you're at your summer solstice, the longest day of the year, the longest time of sunshine in the year. For all of us north of the equator, we are in the shortest days of the year, and don't we know it? It's dark early and it gets light late. And from here on out, at least for about 3 days at the winter solstice, the sun hangs at the lowest or at its highest, depending on what hemisphere you're in, and then slowly begins the journey back to darkness if you're in the southern hemisphere, and back to light if you are in the northern hemisphere. So it's all about the light, right? The solstices are all about the light, and we are in increasing light if you are in the northern, and in decreasing light if you're in the southern. And a chart for the solstice time at the moment the sun returns to that place gives us direction for the next 3 months. And in this particular, the winter solstice always foreshadows what might happen in the next year. So we're getting a foreshadowing of 2020. Now, to me, astrology always works best in hindsight, 2020 hindsight. Like, I can look ahead and I can say, yes, it's an interesting day because, we've got 0 degrees Capricorn being triggered. That's what that means astrologically, the winter solstice. The sun has moved to 0 Capricorn. It now begins to add its very powerful energy to all of that planetary energy already sitting in Capricorn, calling our attention to many different things that have to do with Capricorn: goals, ambitions, drive. This is why we set intentions or set New Year's resolutions, right? Because the sun in Capricorn favors our being able to do that. And whether that day in particular is the best day to do it or not is up to you. To me, if you're going to do it, it's a better day when the sun moves into Capricorn, right? You've got the new energy. It is a gateway. And we're going to have 2 gateways in a week, one with the solstice and the next one with the new moon solar eclipse on Christmas Day for most of us, and the 26th, Boxing Day, for those of you in other parts of the world. So we have a lot going on as we start moving into next week. And it really starts to ramp up the pressure on some of the things that are ruled by Capricorn: the government, corporations, the military, our institutions, so the healthcare system, your education systems, religion as a system, all come under a very powerful lens during this particular time. There may be a lot of focus on budgets and what kind of money goes where, and on the financial situation as we end the year. And that's all owing, again, to that powerful energy of Capricorn at that winter solstice. And this opposite sign of Capricorn is Cancer. So it also draws in the family energy, the energy of tribe and clan and community or nation even, as the energy of Cancer at the opposite end is our roots, right? Our ancestry, our common core values, our common core values as humans, right? So it brings that into the picture as well. So the solstice, very powerful. It doesn't matter where you are on the planet. It's a powerful time for engaging in what comes next, right? If I were to go to sleep and dream a dream, what would I dream? What would I want? What would I, if I knew that by going to sleep I could dream and it would be a beautiful creation that then entered into my waking hours, what would I dream? Kind of a fun way to look at that. And so that is the major news for Saturday. I don't think there was any other major planetary action, but that's pretty big, right? The sun moving into a new sign. It sets the tone for what comes next. And that particular day is 12 intuiting from the Pleiadian calendar. And 12 intuiting was Kib energy in the Mayan calendar, which was represented by the vulture or the death skull, because it is a day of turning inward and of changing from the inside out. And the number 12 is about understanding, right? It's the energy where we take new ideas and new inspiration, and we seek to understand it, and we seek to ground it within us, and then move forward with new ideas. And of course, that leads us to Sunday, which will be a 13 Pleiadian-Earth energy day, which is a day of completion, right? Ascension. We are integrating everything that we've learned in the previous 12 days, and in preparation for the new cycle that begins on Monday. We'll talk about that on Monday. But our closing act for this round of the Pleiadian-Earth energy is evolving energy, Kaban, which was representation of Earth and earthquakes. That is always an interesting energy because it tests our boundaries, it tests our resolve, it tests our foundations. Are they built on sand or are they built on a solid, rock? And so we may find new possibilities. We may find that we have to let go and move on, that all of the things that we've learned during that previous 13-day cycle have led us to a point of change, right? That plans change, and to not resist change. So the tension in this one is really about either you change on your own and embrace that, or things change without your feeling good about it, and then you have to deal with the fallout of the emotional fallout from that change. So there's a little bit of shock involved in this particular energy that can sometimes just be a symptom of where you've been too dug in, or where you've been stuck and shaking you up, right? Literally, let's hope it's not about earthquakes on the planet, that it's more about, something shaking us up from within, causing us to let go, shake off the old, so that on Monday we can start brand new in the new one energy. And the one energy for Monday, just so you know, where do we go next? After that, we go to self-regulating. So one, self-regulating. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Wow. Self-regulating is the Etznab in Mayan, which is the obsidian knife or the flint knife, a very sharp and precise instrument that can be used to cut away that which no longer serves. So that'll be an interesting start to the week. Okay, questions, comments. Christine, as a projector, I have the theme of bitterness, a 3/6 martyr role model. I love it, right? You have so much potential there, Christine, to experience the world not only through others, but also to have the role model characteristics where I don't know how old you are, Christine, but you have a triphasic sort of thing that you go through in your life where let's say you're somewhere between 30 and 48, 50. You're in that up on the roof time. Things are smoothing out. But if you're over 48, likely you're supposed to be coming down off the roof and entering the world as the power that you are, right? As the role model. So to me, I found it difficult to come off the roof. I'm not even sure that I'm off the roof yet as a 6th line profile. So it has its own issues, right? And if you fail to come down off the roof, you tend to repeat the big traumas and dramas in your life, new ways, of course, but coming off the roof says, I'm now embodying everything I've learned, and I'm going out into the world. I go forth and I teach, or I show the way for others. You're welcome, Rebecca. Debbie, I do get it, but it's difficult. I know, I get it, Debbie, really. Marissa, got it. I had one during 2018. Get another one. Debbie says, off to get grandson. Have a great day. Christine, 52. So you're right at the edge. You're on the edge, girl. You are coming off of that roof. So what do you want to emerge into? That would be the best question for you as time goes on. Okay, so I do have some time to do some card readings. I have paperwork here. Let's do a collective card first and see where we are. And I'm going to use Woto, Wisdom of the Oracle. All right. And let's see what we get. And this would be Allison. This was her request to do a card for the collective. And let's see what we can expect. Let's do this one as what can the collective expect for the beginning of winter? And oh, how appropriate is this? Oh, 2. One is time for a nap. Card 24. Time for a nap. Let's get some rest. Ha! Oh my gosh, you guys are going to love this. So the other one is the card Y in upside down mode. And the reason I find this quite amusing is, by the way, it's card number 31, which is a 4, and 24, which is a 6, because the conjunction of Saturn and Pluto, and eventually Jupiter will get here. The South Node has already passed this, but it will be sitting at the gate 61 in the head center, the center gate, which asks the question, why? So how funny is that? So we have a dual collective card. Let's read 24. It was upright. And it says, time for a nap. Rest, rejuvenation, and renewal. Temporary non-action, allowing dreams to arise. And the Oracle's message says, this is a time to step away and rest. Let the cares of your world go. Go into a state of non-action and allow yourself to be free of the shackles of your goals, your lists, your desires. So maybe this isn't a good weekend then yet to go onto that ambitious trail. Nothing is as important as rest, detachment, and neutrality. The overly busy mind can block you from inner wisdom if you don't step back, take a seat, and rest. Be willing to let dreams surface and ideas flow through you, absent any force or conscious direction, as you observe without engagement now. Awesome. The gate, or the card 31 is, oops, that's 37. I need 31. Was Y in protection mode. Y says motives driving intention and the power of knowing the why. And the protection message says, sometimes subconsciously denying the truth may drive you toward a specific outcome that actually aligns with an intention hidden from your awareness. For example, you may want to be prominent in your profession, but your desire is not really about sharing your talents, but about making yourself feel better because fame would cause people to admire and approve of you. Or you may want to reunite with a partner who rejected you because you believe that your love continues to be strong, but deep down what you really desire is to have the last word with that person. Now is the time for deep soul searching of the why that drives your choices. What you uncover will set you free and bring you ever closest to the happiness you seek. Clever. Clever, clever, right? We'll be dealing a lot with why, especially I've decided that we're going to do the, I haven't decided the date yet, but I've decided that we're going to do the Human Design New Year webinar, I guess we can call it, on a combination of human design and gene keys, but I'm doing it for free so everybody can learn more about human design and everybody can learn more about the gene keys in the process. So I will likely do that maybe the second week in January. Because we're preparing for the Human Design New Year at that point in time, which doesn't happen until January 22nd or 23rd. So watch for that to come up. All right, card readings for people. Tom, did you ask me for a card reading? Because now I don't remember who's asked me for one. I'd like a card, please. Woto. All right, Tom, here you go. Here's your Woto. And Christine says, okay, thank you. I thought I have to watch out not to be a martyr. We all do. We all are dealing with that energy as well. Rebecca. So I'm going to start names. Tom, Rebecca. Seems you have an orb saying hello. Somebody said that yesterday too. And I feel it. I feel it. I feel it. You know, one of the things I forgot to bring up for all of you is that while the sun was at the last part of, right now even, it's still very close to the galactic center. And the galactic center sits right about 26, 27 degrees of Sagittarius, and we're a little bit further than that right now. But that means that there's a lot of energy bathing the planet. So tap in, right? Tune in, tap it. Oh my. All right, Tom, you got a story. No, I'm redoing this one. This is not right. It's not right because it included the two cards we just read. So I think maybe I hadn't even started to shuffle yet. So Tom, this will be for you. Asa says she saw it too, Mimi. Marissa says, love that card, already feeling the need for rest. Here you go, Tom. Unfinished Symphony, card number 10, upside down. And if I hold it right side up, you see it is a goddess. She's riding on an egg on top of a piano keyboard, appropriate for someone who's a musician. Let's take a look and see what that means for you, Tom. And remember, it was in protection. 10 is the card of Unfinished Symphony, and it means unfinished business, an incomplete lesson, lack of closure, the need to make amends. And in the protection message, it says, when unfinished business casts a shadow over your life, it is a reminder that procrastination is a form of self-sabotage. It is not in your best interest to stall. Even stumbling forward is better than holding back. Don't overthink things or let yourself get distracted. Just tie up any loose ends and deliver the results. Don't quit before the finish line. Spirit wants you to win. That's cool. That's a very cool card. All right, Rebecca, what deck would you like? We have Goddess, we have Spirit Animal, we have Woto, Wisdom of the Oracle. Marissa would like a card reading. Marissa. And she would like Woto. And Mimi, Animal. Spirit Animal. Okay, and Rebecca, I'm waiting to see what you might want because you're next. And if not, I'm just going to pull a Woto for you. Okay. And that's Marissa. Christine, Animal. Okay. All right, so Rebecca, I'm just going to pull a Woto card for you. Okay, and you get a story. Imagine building blocks, a change in the wind. You get a 4-story, and not for you. Ooh, something big's going on here because these are interesting. First, the Imagine card is in protection. It's upside down, the card 20. So I'm not sure what that means. We'll find that out. And building blocks also upside down. And here's the card right side up, card 28, which is a 1. And then a change in the wind, right side up. And then at the end, not for you, card number 6. So a story here for you, Rebecca. And imagine, card number 20. And the card was in upside down protection mode, but it says the essential meaning: turning imagination into manifestation, creative thought, visualization, the power of aligning imagery and feelings, creativity and illusions. And the protection message says, illusions and wishful thinking rooted in a sense of lack have entered your life. Now may be the time to see things as they truly are and not as you hoped or imagined they would be. Release any fear. Then envision anew. Perhaps you are anticipating that something fearful might happen and recreating that image of disaster over and over in your mind. The universe responds to such projections, so be aware of this catastrophizing. No matter what, illusions and awfulizing are a misuse of imagination. Clear the inner slate and stay grounded, stay real. Only then can you truly have what you desire. And that's followed by building blocks, which is a 28, a 10, which is a 1, and also in protection. And its essential meaning is strong foundations, a beautiful work in progress. And the protection says, now is the time to address the cracks in the foundation of your life. Perhaps your values have changed and it is time to strengthen your convictions and let go of the things that no longer serve the vision you have for your life. Or perhaps you chose to ignore the signs that a situation or agreement you have entered into is not right for you. Remove the rotten pieces and reinforce your core moral strength and integrity. Now is the time for rigorous honesty, for you are called to renovate and upgrade your consciousness. You will be so happy when you do. Spirit has a spectacular blueprint for your life far beyond your imagination. Don't be afraid to replace what's not solid. And then, of course, that's followed by a change in the wind, right? Our zebra carrying a clock tower, change in the wind, number 12. I mean, it's a gazebo. It's not really a clock tower, but it does have the weather vane up at the top. So here we have a change in the wind, card number 12, which is a 3. And it was right side up. And a change in the wind says, a sense that unseen change has been initiated. Preparation for a storm, awareness that your plans are not on firm ground, feeling a shift, uncertainty about which direction the winds will blow. And the oracle's message says it's human nature to yearn for certainty and resist change, to want the world to remain consistent like a zebra's stripes. Yet nothing in human experience is black and white, nor will anything remain static. The one thing guaranteed is change. Now is a time of transformation as outer conditions are temporarily moving out of sync with your desires and expectations. Stay the course, though, and remember that even storms serve to clear the air, scatter seeds, and nourish the soil for better things ahead. Life is about to get interesting. Anticipate it with curiosity as you wonder what is coming in on the shifting winds. The unknown is where the magic lies. And that's followed by the card number 6. Not for you. Let's see what that has to do. That's also right side up. The essential meaning is a clear knowing that something is being denied you. Rejection is God's protection. There are times when it appears that no matter how deeply you desire something, no matter how hard you work at something, the result you seek always seems to elude you. It's as if you don't really get to be in the game and you feel you're just watching from the sidelines. The appearance of this card indicates that you are not going to attain what you want right now, that indeed your dreams for that exact thing will not be fulfilled. This is a time to radically accept that not everything is available to you when you want it. Take heart, for there are benevolent forces who desire the best for you and have a much clearer idea of what is for your highest good. Rejection is God's protection. Something much better that will make you truly happy is on its way. Trust this. So that's a mixed bag of change coming and maybe even moving you in a different direction than what you anticipated. And I get that it likely creates some ill at ease feelings in you, but take heart, Rebecca, as that too will pass. Marissa, the next card is for you, Rebecca. Good, I picked. Thank you, Dr. Janet. Oh, you're so funny. So yeah, I was playing. I loved, I don't get on Facebook very often, but when I do, if there's a quiz in front of my face, I'm going to take it. And my friend Londa, who is a bad influence on me in this respect, took a test and she was the queen. Or maybe she took it after me. Who took it? Kathy Miller. I think you did it. And or maybe it was Londa. Somebody took this test, this quiz. They were the queen. I decided I needed to take it to see what I was going to be, and I was the doctor. Dr. Janet. So Tom, bless his little heart, keeps calling me Dr. Janet. Keeps reminding me I'm a doctor. All right, and this is for you. Okay, Marissa, I think you had this card before. This is too funny. I mean, maybe it wasn't you, but it's No Place Like Home. Upside down, card number 50, which is a 5. So change is in the air, but it was in protection. So let's see. No Place Like Home, card 50. And it says, the essential meaning is authenticity, coming home to yourself, feeling at home, arriving at a place where you just fit, being comfortable in your own skin. And in upside down mode, it says, there are times when what is familiar and known is not the best choice. Human beings are memory-driven creatures, and we all look for certainty, for what we know, even if the qualities we seek in other people and in external conditions are expressed in unhealthy ways. Let me rephrase that. Human beings are memory-driven creatures, and we all look for certainty, for what we know, even if the qualities we seek in other people and in conditions are expressed in unhealthy ways. Avoid being too eager to find home. Choose something unfamiliar and trust that there you will find a new normal that supports your spirit. Remember, if you do what you did, you'll get what you got. Do the opposite of what feels right, even if it's uncomfortable, because what feels right is really what feels familiar, and you will attract and be drawn to the very things you don't want anymore. This time will not be different unless you do something different. So there you go. Allison says, have a wonderful, blessed weekend, everyone. She must be checking out. Very good. Bye to you, Allison. Robert Palmer, bad case of loving you. Doctor, give me the news. Rebecca says, wow, Janet, you just validated all the energies I'm feeling with those cards. Much needed. Thank you so much. You're very welcome. And all hail the Queen Londa. Oh, dear. She's going to love that, Tom. Okay, who is next? Mimi. And she would like an animal card. So let me switch decks here very quickly. We'll do Mimi and then Christine, who also wanted an animal card. And then that will be it. Okay. So, Mimi, this will be for you. I love the animal cards, but these guys are slickery, and I got to hold on to them tighter. Because if I don't, they're all going to fall. And, ooh, Mimi. There's a twofer. Skunk Spirit. Skunk Spirit, which isn't she cute? That is just a really cute card. And it says, know your worth. So it is a positive message, no doubt. And then you also got Sandpiper Spirit, which says, be playful. So know your worth and be playful. Let's read what those two say. Card 54 is Skunk. Skunk. Who knew? I mean, all animals are precious, right? Okay, Skunk says, what do you value? What do you believe in? Is your best, most authentic self on display? Skunk Spirit comes as a reminder that you can be proud of who you are and what you have accomplished. Know your worth. Not everyone will agree with you or share your values, but you can walk with your head high, knowing that when you express your integrity, others can feel your authenticity and will be inspired by it. Be who you are, and if your reputation precedes you, good. You have much to be proud of, and Skunk Spirit wants you to be your best self, the true you. And then Sandpiper comes in and says, be playful. Sandpipers are like cute little clowns, poking their beaks into the sand before darting off to chase the waves. The appearance of Sandpiper Spirit is a sign that now is a time to engage your playfulness. Whatever tasks you have before you, perform them with a lightness of being. Explore the familiar, discovering the new in the old. Who knows what treasures await you when you let yourself laugh and have fun? Sandpiper Spirit's happy and curious nature can help you to feel rejuvenated as you remember your ability to run and fly and dance playfully. Maybe you need to get up in the morning and listen to really cool music and dance through your house. That's for you, Mimi. Lovely, lovely, lovely. And Christine, let's do, she asked for an animal card as well. So let's look at that and see what is for you, Christine. And woohoo, let's do these. Good. Ah, Dolphin Spirit. We haven't had that one, I don't think. This and that are true. Dolphin says, this and that are true. Beautiful. Okay, let's see what Dolphin says. I really don't believe we've had Dolphin before. I don't remember pulling this card. Dolphin says, Dolphin Spirit, like her earthly manifestation, is a reminder of duality. As the dolphin is both mammal and sea creature, so too is Dolphin Spirit both this and that. Two truths coexist, the story you tell and another as well. The duality of life is present when we are suffering, for there is a blessing too in the helpers that appear. Within clouds are silver linings, and when we later reflect on what happened, we can see that a situation was both this and that, and a choice led to both joy and sorrow. No relationship is either all good or all bad, and people have qualities of both light and shadow. Focus on the positive, Christine, for light exists alongside the darkness. Dolphin Spirit calls for you to come up from below and enjoy a weightless moment in the sun as you dive in and out of this and then that, accepting and even enjoying the duality of life. Why not join Dolphin Spirit in acknowledging and affirming the blessings present in this moment? In all areas of your life, there are aspects of both this and that. Today, you can celebrate this fact and recognize the complexity and the beauty of the fabric of the universe. You are at a place right now where your past self is still present as you move toward the new self you are becoming. Aspects of both selves are present, so even if you want to say goodbye to what was, you are required to find solace in this in-between time. Today is not a day to choose one over another either, but rather to accept things as they are without judgment or resistance. Even in matters of the heart, duality is present. Your next action will be obvious when you drop your bias and see things as a whole. Well, that was a long read. I hope that's meaningful for you, Christine. This and that, duality, right? Okay, well, I think that is it for me. New card, thank you, Marissa. Oh, okay, it was new for you. Okay, Grizel, good morning. Can I get one? Yeah, sure, why not? Two great cards, thank you, Mimi says. And Grizel, you're new. Welcome to Living Astrology. And I'm going to pull you a Wisdom of the Oracle card, which is a deck by Colette Baron Reed. And let's see, this will be the last one, but I love doing this for new people as well. So Grizel, ooh. Exchanging Gifts, card number 27. It was upside down, so we're going to read the protection message, but look at how beautiful she is with the pink and the little kitty there. Exchanging Gifts is card number 27, which is a 9, and it was in protection. So protection, let's see what that card 27, what this means for you. I really do like this card. This is a card about abundance usually, and giving and receiving. So exchanging gifts. The essential meaning is the law of giving and receiving, currency, trade-offs, weighing costs, and determining value. And in protection, it says, be careful what you pray for because you just might get it. And then realize you don't want to face the hefty price tag that comes with it. You may find yourself in a situation you've always desired, but know you will have to walk away from or even fail at because you can't or won't pay the dues it asks of you. If you want to be a famous musician, you have to practice your craft every day. If you want to be a millionaire, you have to be responsible for managing the money and paying the taxes. Even a windfall bears a cost. It's okay, though, because Spirit will help you achieve balance over time. Another message here reminds you that being only the giver and not the receiver plays out in many relationships in your life, where you find yourself in victim mode, in a codependent dynamic, or holding on to a false sense of control. Others may push you to continue to prove yourself. The time has come to distance yourself from this kind of imbalance. Being aware of the need for both give and take is the first step to your true destiny. It's all good and getting better. Not only can you handle this, but you can flourish as a result of it. Great reminder for all of us, right? Giving and receiving, right? You can't just be only the giver and you can't always be just the receiver. You have to both give and receive. That's what exchanging gifts is all about. All right, guys. Well, that's it for me today. I wish you all a very happy weekend. I'll see you here on Monday morning where we will begin to work through the solar eclipse for next week. And in the meantime, have a great weekend. See you on Monday. Bye for now.